Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. Here I've got a very sorry looking Gerbera plant. So I'll tell you a bit about why this Gerbera looks so bad at the moment and what I'm going to do to hopefully recover it, get it flowering again. So I got this last June as a birthday present. Very nice healthy plant, had 2 or 3 flowers. So I put it on a very sunny windowsill. It did very well over the summer, grew loads and loads of leaves, but it just wasn't growing any flowers, so I was a bit disappointed that it didn't grow any more flowers. But the 3 it did last for a couple of months, so it wasn't a bad display. So I looked up online and it said if it was too warm the temperatures, it can tend to just put on lots of leaves and not any flowers. So I put it into a colder room, sat there, didn't seem to mind it too much. But then what happened is it had a very bad thrip infestation, and the thrips have really decimated its leaves. And it's just killed, just died basically. A lot of the leaves have just died off. You can see there is actually a little bit of thrip damage on some of these healthy leaves still. This kind of silvery speckling, especially like that section there by my fingernail. That's the classic sign of thrip damage. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on this. As far as I'm aware, it's pretty much all gone. I haven't seen any live thrips anymore. But I'm still going to have to be very vigilant that they don't come back, because there could be some kind of hibernating somewhere or hiding just underneath a leaf. So what I'm going to do with this video is first of all remove all the dead material. For one, it's making it look really quite ugly and it makes it look awful. 2, it's just going to impede the light and airflow to the existing healthy foliage. And finally, it's going to also be a hiding place for any thrips or other insects which might eat the plant. There we are, that's all the dead material removed. As you can see, it's already looking a lot better there. So I'm also going to have a look at the roots, because I'm going to see if there's anything else, because for thrips to do that much damage, it's quite unusual. You can see a leaf here dying, and I don't think there's any thrips left, so I'm not sure why this should be dying. So I'll have a close look. There's no obvious signs of thrips or anything. Everything seems okay apart from the fact that it's dying, so I'm not sure what's wrong with that leaf, but I'll have a look at the roots anyway. And I can actually see there seems to be some kind of grubs down here. I don't know if I can get it on the camera. I don't know if that's just because the middle has started to rot away after it's died and they're eating the rotten material, or they're actually eating the live material, so I'm not sure. I'll see if I can get it out of this pot. So you can see the base here, the roots look quite healthy, but we'll see what the roots are like further inside. So I'll just break these off, as otherwise I won't be able to pull it out of the pot. Here we are. Generally it doesn't look too bad. There's a lot of roots at the bottom, there's not many at the top. I think what could be one of the problems is if you actually look at the growing point of the plant, it's actually underneath the soil level. So I think it's been planted too deep in the pot. So what I'm actually going to do is remove the top layer of compost, because there's no roots in there and it's just making the crown too damp. And if the crown gets too damp, that might be why part of it has rotted off. So I'm going to remove all the top layer of the compost. And that should free up the crown a lot more. There's also the original felt. Must have had it when they had it as a plug plant, so you can see there some of the original felt. I find that although the roots can grow through this, it can be quite constricting to the plant, so I'm going to pick off any of that existing felt that's on there, because that's not going to be helping the plant either. That'll let a bit more air in. So there we are, you can see the crown of the plant is there. All around here there's absolutely no roots, so it's kind of pointless having any compost there. So I'm probably going to chuck this compost, because to me it looks like quite cheap peat compost and I'm not too happy with the look of it. So I'm going to get rid of most of that. I'm going to replace it with some of my own compost. So I'll just pop it back in, and I'm going to plant it a lot shallower than it was before, so that the crown's exposed, because I think another one of the problems it's had is the crown was just covered in compost. I mean, the soil level I think was actually about up to here, and that's just going to cause all sorts of problems, and it's going to cause it to rot off eventually. Also, there's a lot of roots crowded at the bottom, and if I can put some compost under them, they're going to grow down, and there's going to be a lot more growing space. You can see for a pot of this size, the actual growing space was very small. The roots were only in the bottom half. And if you look at it against there, you can see how high the compost used to be, and it was just covering the crown. So I'll go and get some more compost and I'll pot this up. So I've made up a mix of my own compost, which is just going to be multi-purpose compost, which is very rich, good moisture retentive properties. And I put in about probably a fifth of perlite, just to add a bit of drainage, because I find that gerberas do like to have free draining compost. I think what I'm actually going to do is remove even more of this old compost, because I'm really not happy with the state it's in, and the roots are really looking very pot bound. So if I can just tease out some of these roots, clear away the old compost, replace it with much higher quality compost, hopefully that will be enough to really get this plant growing healthily again. So there we are, that's the majority of the compost removed, and as you can see the roots that are left are actually quite thick and healthy roots, and I've moved them from the position they were in, so they're no longer spiralling, they're all kind of growing downwards, which is a much better growth habit for them to have. So because they've got quite thick healthy roots, there should be quite a lot of energy stored in them, and I should expect this to do quite well once I've planted it up. So I'm just going to put a bit of compost in the bottom there. As I say, I'm going to make sure it's much higher than it was before, and I'm just going to try and work in as much compost as I can around the existing roots. There we are, that's it planted up, and that's all. Most of the roots covered. There's one or two little ones which are just at the surface, but if it's just a tiny, maybe half a centimetre, that's not an issue. But the main thing is the crown is above the soil level now, which should be a lot better for it. I'm gonna also keep a really close eye on any pests that come back, because as I say, if the thrips come back, I could be back to square one. I didn't find any more of the little larvae that I was talking about. I saw one whilst I was taking out the compost at first, but I think I seemed to have crossed it, so I didn't manage to show you on camera, because when I tried to find it again, it just seemed to have disappeared. I think it was crossed when I was pulling it out, and there was only the one, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll keep a close eye on the crown, because there's still a few sections where it's a bit damp and could start rotting, so I need to keep an eye on that. But generally I'm quite happy with that. I will now put it in a sunny location again. I'm going to keep it in the cold room, and the reason for that is because if it's got diseases, I don't want it to spread to any other room, and also because I don't have any space anywhere else. So it's going to go back in the cold room of mine. But I'll give you guys an update, and hopefully next time I show you it'll be covered in lots of healthy leaves, and then by summer I'll hopefully have some more flowers on it again.